April 24th, you know, again, this is how my day starts. We have a pretty full agenda today and want to go through a couple of important topics. Again, thanks for joining us. We appreciate every week that you join us, and hopefully you're learning something. I know I certainly am learning a lot from your questions, and just helps us be better at serving you. So first and foremost, the grandmothering of group plans. The carriers are still, they still have not put out anything in writing. I did hear verbally from a couple carriers on what they're going to do as far as extending the life of the non-PPACA group plans. And the information that I have at this point is that Health America will start their grandmothering of plans starting with 8/1 renewals. So when you get a renewal for 8/1, what you're going to see is their current plan design with renewal rates as well as PPACA options. So your groups will have an opportunity to stay where they're at, and you know, hopefully the rates are going to be competitive, or going to a PPACA plan. The other carrier that I did get a verbal from, and they're going to be putting something out within the next day or so, is Highmark, and they are allowing grandmothering of plans starting with 7/1 renewal dates through, of course, 12/1 renewal dates. So, you know, again, another opportunity to talk with these groups and find out what is in the best interest of these groups. Highmark specifically said that for the renewal starting with 7/1, they're going to get the non-PPACA options, renewal options with their same plan. They're also going to see other non-PPACA group options that they could transfer to, and then, of course, the PPACA options. Backing up to Health America, they did say that, you know, they are starting with 8/1, but there is a possibility, and I underline that in bold, possibility, that if you request non-PPACA grandmothering rates for 7/1 effective dates, that they may be able to get those to you. So just keep that in mind. And you know, UPMC has allowed grandmothering of plans starting with 4/1 effective dates or renewal dates. So hope that helps. Geisinger, Capital, NEPA, Independence, those carriers we have not heard from yet as to what they're doing with the grandmothering of plans, but the assumption is being made, and it is an assumption, that quite possibly they will be offering some sort of grandmothering provision as well. So a reminder from last week is that during this time now that the open enrollment for individual health plans has ended, you know, there are still opportunities to get people covered if they need coverage with short-term medicals or limited medical plans. Again, it's not going to eliminate the individual tax penalty that they would be assessed, but it would at least give them coverage so that they are protected from any catastrophic sort of loss. You know, so again, that's an opportunity of because I'm sure there are a lot of people coming out of the woodwork now, not realizing that enrollment has ended, and you know, of course, you want to help them as much as you can, but unless they have a qualifying event or a complex situation qualifying event, it's pretty much over. Now, there was some sort of blast that went out from one of our friendly competitors that mentioned that enrollment was ending on the 30th of April. And what you need to know is that if an application, a paper application, was submitted by April 7th to the FFM, those people have until the 30th to choose a plan, but no new enrollees are going to be able to get into the health plan unless they have a qualifying event. Speaking of qualifying events, if anyone has any enrollees that have a special election period and a qualifying event, and you can give me some feedback as to what you've experienced, good, bad, and indifference, I would appreciate the feedback so that you know, I can better help you as well and unless I have an opportunity to enroll somebody, I can't really firsthand witness what the experience would be. So that would definitely be helpful to me. So let's talk about new opportunities and where are they? Well, of course, every group is going to be renewing, so I would say the groups are really where your next opportunity is going to lie. And there's a quick slide here that I wanted to show you. When you're talking with a group that's coming up for renewal, they're really going to fall into 4 buckets. And one of the buckets is that, if the employer currently has group insurance and he or she feels it's beneficial with your direction to dissolve that group coverage and go the individual route, that's what a lot of groups are doing. We're not pro or con one way or the other. Obviously, business is business to us, and business is business to you as well. But in some groups, that really does make sense. And some employers won't hear anything other than that. They want to dissolve coverage. So that is an opportunity to talk with groups that are renewing. Also going with a defined contribution sort of model where a group could keep their group insurance, but you talk to the employer about coming up with a base plan and a base fee that they pay. That way the employer has, more fixed costs and can budget accordingly. So that's an opportunity as well. And of course, staying with their group plan or going to a SHOP plan. Again, staying with a group plan might involve the grandmothering of their current non-PPACA plan, or going to a PPACA plan, keeping the group chassis, if you will, for coverage, or looking at the SHOP programs if that fits your current customer. And then, of course, custom plan, which is self-funding. Some groups definitely would benefit by exploring self-funding. So, and again, at the bottom of the screen, you'll see that a possible hybrid approach might be useful, where the employer offers ancillary or voluntary benefits and then sends the employees to the individual exchange or individual products outside the exchange. So again, those are some opportunities that I wanted to talk to you about. There are others as well. Again, the groups renewing, new groups. There is not an open enrollment period for groups. So if you run across a mom and pop, bad wording, if you run across a small group or even a large group that doesn't have coverage currently and you want to put group coverage in place, you can do that at any time. So again, that's where your opportunity is going to lie, with renewing groups and newly formed groups, or groups that don't have group coverage now that want to look at group coverage. Of course, with employer coverage, employees that are terminated, that would create a qualifying event. At the point that the employee is coming off that plan and they're offered COBRA, they have a decision to make and a special election period to either choose their COBRA option or go individual, on or off exchange. So again, that's an opportunity. For those turning 65 on a group health plan that are coming off that group plan and their spouse loses that coverage as well, and they're possibly under 65, again, that's an opportunity. And can't go without mentioning, there are some carriers that are renewing within this year. Health America One plans are renewing consistently throughout this year. Any individual plan that is renewing and only offered a PPACA plan, that they can't stay on their current non-PPACA plan, that's an opportunity as well, a qualifying event. And then, of course, the last but not least is maybe looking at going back to your clients that you've written through the individual market or through group market and talking to them about the ancillary programs, either individual or group, critical illness, disability, accident, dental. So there are still opportunities out there, and I want you guys to be aware of that if you're not already. Just let us know how we can help you with any of these opportunities. We have some good forms for outreach to groups that you can utilize, and I think it's going to benefit you definitely and keep you kind of occupied maybe during this downtime, and I say that in quotations. So there are the new opportunities, a long list of them in my estimation. The next bullet point is regarding the password reset. Anyone that enrolled through the FFM, the Federally Facilitated Marketplace, they received an email regarding their passwords. Because of that heartbleed virus, the FFM took it upon themselves to reset all of the passwords that were created when the accounts were created for your clients. And I did get some feedback from one of my agent partners basically saying that all passwords have been disqualified as of yesterday, which was Tuesday, and the logins won't work. So all clients must either go to the login page and click on that they forgot their password, and then they can reset it using their 3 security questions, or they should have received an email from the FFM, and there's a link within that email that they can reset their passwords. So again, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a mess right now with the resetting of the passwords, but where I really think it might be a pain in the butt, if you will, is for the 2015 enrollment when nobody's going to remember username and passwords anyway. So it's going to be a little bit dicey, but just so you're aware, all of those passwords have been reset. I didn't have any submitted questions today or this week, so we'll go right to the open forum and any questions that you have typed in. And I don't have a whole lot of those either. Jeremy asks, he says, what if a company has a PPACA group plan currently and don't like it? Can they switch? That's a great question, Jeremy, and the answer is that if they have a PPACA plan now, they rewrote with a specific carrier on a PPACA plan and they don't like it, they cannot change their plan within the same carrier until their renewal. But what they could do, or what you could do, is explore group coverage with another carrier, and then they can switch to another carrier and a PPACA plan at any time. So I hope that helps. Nate says, if someone has the option of COBRA, they are not eligible for a tax credit, correct? No, that's not correct. If they're eligible for COBRA, it's going to, at this point, it's going to allow the person to choose their COBRA. And if it's affordable, then, I mean, let me back up. Affordability really has nothing to do with COBRA. So if they choose COBRA, then they're stuck on COBRA until the next open enrollment period as an individual. If they don't choose COBRA, then if they are subsidy eligible, they can get that subsidy, or they can apply outside of the marketplace if they're not subsidy eligible. If they chose their COBRA and it's deemed unaffordable, then the only real thing they get from that is that they are exempt from, that's not that great of a bargain, I suppose. But yes, at the point somebody's offered COBRA, they can choose COBRA or they can go individual. To another carrier at any time? Oh, no, no, no. No, 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 Margie. That is not correct. A group, if there was a marketplace error that put them in a plan that they don't want or didn't want due to the marketplace error, then they could change. But, I mean, that's going to be difficult to prove. And if anyone tries that, please let me know how that results. But no, not individual, only group. Yes, group is anytime. Thanks, Margie, for clarifying that. And that's really all for the questions. There's one more. If you have a non-ACA individual plan, can you get an ACA plan prior to the renewal? You cannot. You could have during the open enrollment, Britt, but you cannot do it outside of the enrollment until the renewal. And Scott says, where can I get a list of qualifying events? Scott, that is on healthcare.gov, but I can, actually there's going to be a link in the newsletter that's going out today, but Scott, I'll send that to you. But again, it's just on healthcare.gov. You can pick that up anytime. Laurie says, when you're on a COBRA plan, can you switch to a private market at any time? No. if you were on a COBRA plan and it was during open enrollment, you could have terminated your COBRA and enrolled in an individual plan both on and off marketplace. Now that the open enrollment has ended, if you are faced with choosing COBRA coverage or individual coverage, you can do that outside of the enrollment period, of course, but you cannot cancel your COBRA and create a qualifying event. You cannot voluntarily cancel your COBRA and create a qualifying event. Hope that makes sense. And Dana says, can you please restate the COBRA situation? And Dana, I think I did answer that, but if you have specific questions you want to ask, just questions. He says, so there are groups that renewed over the last couple of months with only ACA options, but now grandmothering will start later this. And Dana says, if you take COBRA and then turn 65 and want to go on Medicare, is that a qualifying event? You know what, Dana? I don't know that. I would imagine that it is, because I think that you're not eligible once you're 65. But I will check into that and I will get you an answer. I'm not really sure, and I don't want to guess. So. And one of my wonderful agent partners answered and said, yes, it is a qualifying event. And I believe those are all the questions. If anybody else has any questions, feel free to type them in. I just wanted to remind everybody that our next webinar is going to be Thursday, May 1st, next Thursday, but we will not have a webinar on the following Thursday, which is May 8th. And I'll remind everybody, of course, next week. Also in our newsletter that's going out today, you're going to notice that the sign-up will be there for the May 1st, and it might be a little bit different in format, but same end result. You register for the webinar. So watch for that in the newsletter. Again, I always just appreciate all of you joining in every week, and it's great feedback that I'm getting, and I appreciate, once again, all of the business that you've submitted throughout this open enrollment period. If you have groups or want to talk about group strategy, now's the time to do it. So please give me a call, and we can help you through that. We're happy to do that. So because we're out of time now and out of questions, I will sign off and say thank you again, and enjoy the rest of your week and the sunshine outside, and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.